Welcome to the Sparkle Sesh. I'm Suzanne Castle, your host and Chief Sparkle Officer. This is the show where bold conversations meet actionable inspiration. Every episode, we bring together powerhouse panelists to dive into the topics that matter most: leadership, resilience, branding, visibility, and everything else in between. It's all about big ideas, meaningful connections, and fresh strategies for ambitious women like you. So grab your favorite drink, pull up a seat, and let's get the conversation started. It's time to shine brighter, bolder, and better than ever. Sparkle fam, welcome back to the Sparkle Sesh, where we're all about helping you shine brighter in business and life without the burnout and without the BS. I'm Suzanne Castle, your host, and today we're diving into a topic that I know so many of you are craving: collaborations that actually work. Now, this is not about networking fluff. It's not about forced collaborations, but the kind of power partnerships that help you sparkle, that help you scale, and that help you succeed together. And if you've ever struggled with knowing who to say yes to, how to protect your peace, or how to grow faster without doing it all by yourself, this is going to be your episode to your green light. So I brought together 3 powerhouse women who are going to join me today, and they know a thing or two about building empires, leading with integrity, and saying yes to partnerships that actually move the needle. So let me introduce them. First up is LaChelle Adkins. You may know her as America's Supermom. She's a speaker, she's an entrepreneur, she's a mental wellness advocate, and get this, a mother of 15. Yes, you heard that right. And after battling depression for over a decade, she built a global wellness movement, and now she's helping others embrace their unique brilliance through her Fresh Start coaching. Welcome, LaChelle. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me, Suzanne. And it is a pleasure to be here on this platform. This is one of my favorite topics when it comes to collaboration because it's a lot of moving parts just in my own household. So it takes a team, and I am just over the moon to be here today and have the conversation.
I know
So
you're going to drop so many nuggets, and I just have to say, LaChelle has been so gracious hosting me on her podcast, hosting me on her television show, and we just had this fun little, what I would say, collaborative friendship happening. And so I knew she had to be on this show. So glad that you're here, tuning in from her car, where she's the ultimate boss babe, making everything work. So thank you for your time and your
thank-
energy today. Next up, we have Julie Jones. She's an etiquette expert. She's a speaker. She's a leadership consultant who's helped organizations from American Airlines to universities like Texas Tech, SNU. And oh yeah, she built a plumbing company from scratch. She scaled it to 7 figures, and then she sold it. And Julie's all about helping people and teams shine from the inside out. I'm so glad you're here, Julie. Thank you for coming. Oh, Julie, I think you're muted. Could you unmute yourself?
There we go. Is that better? Oh,
So much
thank you
better.
so much for having me. I am your number one fan, and so I love doing anything with you. I'm honored to be here today to talk about our favorite topic and how we can be better just by improving ourselves.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And you definitely are an expert in this space. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And finally, holy cow, we have Dr. Dorothy Martin-Neville. Now, she is not only a leadership expert, she's an author. She's the founder of 4, yes, 4 different companies. She's scaled from solo to full teams. She's trained leaders across industries, and she blends psychology and spirituality and strategy in a way that I think is totally magnetic. So, Dr. Dorothy, we are absolutely thrilled to have you in this seat today. Welcome.
Amazing women. Michelle, God bless you. My goodness me.
Right.
Sainthood is right there. Yeah, but this is exciting. And thank you so much for having me.
Oh, so glad that you're here. Okay, LaChelle, I want to start with you. Okay. All right. So, your journey from overcoming personal challenges to launching this global, really wellness from the inside out movement, it involved a lot of strategic partnerships.
Mhm.
So, how have collaborations specifically supported your growth? And what would you say criteria do you use to choose your partners?
I think the main thing that I would say is honesty. So, a lot of my growth really came from me being able to look in the mirror about a lot of the issues that I was having in my own personal life, and the courage to be able to ask for help and to connect with people that were gifted in places where I was not. So that really, that inner knowledge about who I am, what I bring to the table, allowed me to be in a situation where I can depend on other people who were gifted in places where I wasn't. And so, as a result of doing that, being a good listener, looking at other things that are outside of business in terms of how people conduct themselves, has even opened up different platforms for me to expand
Mm.
where I'm at, because I have just been open to really being in tune to the energy and the emotions that people bring to the table, to where I feel like, oh, I'm feeling good about this. And it helps me to get out of my comfort zone around a lot of places that I would not have even imagined that I would have been. I didn't set out thinking, oh, I'm going to do a global movement. It definitely was something small, but as a result of being able to connect with the right people, it has opened up so many different platforms for me to extend my reach.
I love how you say that. And I don't know that anybody starts out. I mean, maybe there might be the 1% that starts out, I'm going to start a global movement. But I think we kind of grow into that. And I love how you said, it's finding the right people who do the things that you're not feeling like you could do, or that you don't have the skill set in. I think that's a different way of looking at things, because we all show up and we're like, I can do all the things, or we think that we can do all the things. So, Julie, your background is a lot of helping companies specifically think about education and entrepreneurship and executive consulting, and I think that likely you've seen both great and not so great partnerships, I would imagine. So unmute your microphone and tell us, what is one key lesson that you've learned about creating partnerships that truly elevate both parties?
That's such a great question. And I think it's for me and my experience, what I've seen is it really always starts with, how can I serve you? A lot of times I think today we come into a world of me focused. I
Yeah.
need this now. I want the most money I can make right now. I want to not have to have any hard times. I don't want to learn lessons. I just want it to be easy, and I want it to be all me. And, my mission is to bring kindness back, because, when we flip that script and we go into things with, how can I serve you? How
Yeah.
can I help you? If you see a coworker who is struggling to get things done, maybe is trying to learn a new skill and is struggling, if you go and just offer, is there anything I can do to help? It just relieves so much pressure.
Right.
Um, you know, we I'm seeing right now lots of articles on workplace etiquette and just the rudeness of
Yeah.
things that happen in the workplace. The heating fish in the microwave or something like that. It's just, you know, just put the emphasis off of you and then say, how can I help? How can I serve? And if we all can get into that mindset, I think we will see partnerships form more quickly. We will see relationships improve, and we will see things will happen. But we have to start with the root of, stop thinking about ourselves first.
Oh, that's so
I,
good.
I was going to add to that because, I think in my journey, I was actually raised an only child. I didn't have any siblings. And
Oh, wow.
I was really groomed with this mindset of thinking that I had to do it all. That was a sign of strength, that you don't need to ask for help, no questions. And,
Wow.
it takes a lot of courage to let go of that and to connect with other people. But when you serve, it makes it so much easier because it's like everybody has a role and you can all go so much further together rather
Right.
than one person trying to serve everybody. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. And I think we watch, if we're attuned, right? If you're by yourself, your friends watch you burn out,
That's
right?
right.
I mean, so this isn't just about teams or when you're in a company, right? Or even in your family watches you get short, get bitter, right? And how many of us are like, we don't think about, well, let me just go and load the dishwasher. Like, I think a lot of this starts with our own journeys at home, right? And then we carry that to the other places that we go.
Yeah.
So Dorothy, I would love to know a little bit. So you've built multiple companies and teams, and I know that you've navigated a lot of tough dynamics and you're seeing this play out. So what advice would you give, let's say, leaders when they're managing these kind of, like what we're talking about, these natural conflicts that arise in partnerships without sacrificing vision on relationships? Oh, you're on mute.
All right.
Go ahead.
One of the things, Julie, I just wanted to add to you is cruelty has also become an acceptable behavior. Not just rude, but cruelty
Yeah.
has become accepted. What a horrific state of that.
Yeah.
But because it breaks my heart when I see that, that we're so easy to be nice to each other.
Right.
And yet there's a choice not to. What have I seen? A great deal. To me, humility is one of the most important qualities we need to bring into the workplace. And I truly mean that, and especially in terms of collaboration. One of my companies, I had dozens of positions. I have $1 million payroll. And it was every Wednesday morning, the 9 most important folks in my team would come into my room and we would do a 2.5-hour meeting every Wednesday morning. And I would put out, these are my thoughts for this week. This is where we're going. These are the projects we need to undertake. And this is how I think it should go. But I want everybody's opinion, because with everybody feeding an opinion, they can help me extrapolate an idea I had that I never would have gone to.
Right.
Or they can add something else to the table that I didn't think about because I was thought about all of this, but there's so much more to look at. That when we have the humility to say, I don't have all the answers,
Mm-hmm.
you really hear from so many others, their creativity, their innovation. And it takes nothing away from your power as a leader. It takes nothing away from your power as a visionary, right? That they help expand your vision and take it further. I think most importantly, knowing your vision. What is your vision for who you are? I believe every one of us is born with a spiritual purpose to make this world a better place. And we each have such unique gifts. We do it our own unique way.
Right.
How is it that at this point, because our purpose never changes, our vision never changes, but how we apply it changes. And so we need to be willing to grow into that way in which it's changing. I spent years as a Catholic nun. And when I left religious life, I then spent years as an international airline stewardess, doing service in a very different way.
Right.
And then as a therapist, seeing 42 patients a week for 20 plus years. That's another way of doing service, of bringing people into their leadership, into their personal power, and bringing them back into the sense of who they are rather than who they should be. And I put that in quotes, right?
Yep.
And so now as a coach doing the same thing. So I think we need to be so aware of who am I? When you're solidly placed in that, you don't have to pretend you can go alone.
Right.
You don't have to pretend you're so independent you don't need anybody, because you're so comfortable in your own skin. You can be very comfortable saying, hey, I've got this great idea. I've watched you. You impress me no end. How did you learn what you learned? And could you share some of that wisdom with me?
Mm-hmm.
It takes nothing away from you. It expands you.
I love that notion of expansion, and if we could bring that into conversations about collaborations. And so what it's making me think, I would love for all of you to comment on this, because I think you're all coming at this slightly differently. So this will be interesting. So I'm curious, how do each of you personally assess when a partnership is truly aligned or maybe beneficial rather than just convenient or maybe flashy on the surface? Because Dr. Dorothy, you talked about, you've got to understand your vision, and be truly like steadfast in that, right? That's my word, steadfast in that. And so what is your assessment tool? So LaChelle, let's go to you first.
I love what she said about us knowing our vision. I think that is key, because when you're able to determine the vision of everybody, you can find that intersection. And I'm one that I don't like to micromanage people. I've done that for too long. It didn't end well. And so I find that if I find the place that we intersect and align, that it makes that project and that collaboration just so much of a better flow, that I don't feel like I have to do anything. It's like not any work. We're excited to come together and come to the table. So I think for me, it is finding that intersection, but learning that, um, asking the right questions to find out what their vision is, to see if it truly aligns with mine, is would be my answer.
That's great. I love that. And so what I heard you say is making sure that when you're talking to someone that you are talking about your vision.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And assessing, and I think assessing what theirs is, because
Right.
we have to ask the right questions. A lot of times, sometimes what happens, well, I can only speak for myself. In the past, I would have my vision and I would hear things about my vision that I was interested in. And I believe that we're on the same team, but I'm micromanaging because it really is my vision. I'm not really hearing somebody else's.
Right.
When you're able to be clear about what your vision is, then you can hold space for other people to truly hear what theirs is. And then you can see how you guys can come together to expand, if it even makes sense. And it's not anything personal, but
Right.
it's just really being able to truly assess if there is alignment or not.
But see, I love that because it's not only assessing alignment, you're also holding a boundary that it might not be.
Right.
And I think that's just as important when you're talking about really power partnerships. Sometimes they're not meant to be.
Yes.
And we're leaping instead of just saying this might not be the right thing. Okay, so Julie, how about you? What is one way that you're assessing this kind of beneficial way of collaborative work?
Twofold. One is there peace in my soul?
Mm,
Because if there's something not aligned with values, then it shows up in conflict. It shows up in disagreement or not ever be able to come to the middle. What I spoke of earlier is everybody wants what they want. We're not coming to the middle. And so when you're not sleeping at night,
yeah,
when it's keeping you awake when you stop eating or when you're eating more, because you're like, and you can't focus because this whole thing in your head is obsessive, and then it's not right. It's just not right. And one way to test that is people might be aligned in values, but they might have needs that aren't being met, psychological and emotional needs. And so when we can speak the language that somebody needs to hear, we use the platinum rule and we meet someone where they are by speaking to them the way they need to hear it. We need to meet someone's needs. If that inner peace becomes peaceful, or the disruptive peace that you might have, not peace inside, if it goes away because we're now meeting each other's needs, and so now it's becoming okay, now we're having conversations, great. If not, then that's a signal then that this person is not willing to change, or there's something going on with them and it might be time to move on.
That's so well said. I love how you talked about physical cues. And I think, and I don't want to make this just a women-centric conversation, but I mean, 90% of my audience is women. So, hey, Chip, hey, chicas, we're glad you're here, right? And we love you men, but like, I think women often ignore what their bodies are already telling them, and their mind catches up way too late, right? And so you may have physical cues that maybe you need to be paying attention to just as much as your thoughts, right? And sometimes our bodies know first before our mind tells us what to do next. I love that, Julie. That's so smart. Okay, Dr. Dorothy,
I
what about
would
you?
say one thing with that, if I could add to
Sure,
that,
go
is
ahead.
that we notice the physical cues, but then we talk ourselves out of them.
Yeah,
Because it's
We
like, you
dismiss
know
them.
what, this is a good friend, or we already had this on the schedule, so
right.
it's going to happen. And so we ignore that and we come up with a different story, to explain away those feelings. So I just wanted to add that.
Oh, I think that's so smart. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, Dr. Dorothy, what are your ways of kind of assessing when there's a partnership that is beneficial?
Quite a bit. First, values. Do we have the same values? Do we have the same approach to life? Is really important to me. Also, I'm very powerful. I'm very creative. I'm very out there. And so I want somebody who can speak at my level. I don't want somebody who is going to hold back. Now, I'm a listener. I will sit back and listen extensively because I'm always open to learning from everybody. Simultaneously, that's listening. That's not holding back. That's not fear of giving an opinion. That's not fear of contradiction. I want somebody strong enough to say to me, hey, I think I've got a better idea. Or, hey, what about if we do? Rather than tiptoeing and being frightened of. So they have got to be comfortable in their own skin.
Right.
They've got to be innovative. They've got to be creative. Because much of my work, I'm a pioneer here in integrative health in the country. And, at a time when people would say to me, but you're so intelligent, why are you doing that? People are going to notice. I hope they notice because I believe in what I'm doing. I want them to notice. That's how you have influence and impact, right? And so I need them to really be innovative, to be creative, to be powerful, and to have a value system that matches mine. And that is about compassion. That is about being present, to really be seen, to be on stage, to be powerful, to be a huge energy field. I want a large energetic footprint. And so they have to be comfortable having a large energetic footprint as well, if
Right.
they're going to be working with me, because then we're on the same page. And because I'm wide open, as I said earlier, give me an idea if you've got a better one, or expand mine, do what we need. Let's work together here, brainstorming. Because if we can brainstorm whatever product we're bringing to market, whether that is a talk or a panel, we're doing it as a team, right? And we're all equal here, just with different life experiences, but sharing where we're coming from. And what a powerful message that is.
Right.
What a really powerful message. And I know I've been on stage with somebody years ago, and it was two of us, two women. And somebody came up to me afterwards and said, not only was I highly impressed with what you had to say, I've never seen two women respect each other so much and thoroughly enjoy each other. And I thought, what a sad statement.
So
That we really can thoroughly appreciate each other's grandeur, right? And applaud it without feeling intimidated or overwhelmed. So I think just something like this says, hey, we can really admire each other here because we all bring so much to the table.
Right.
Wow. I think what a marker for collaborative opportunities. So is there admiration? And when we share space, are we equal in this space? I just learned so much from each of you just in that one question. I'm like, oh, I would have to come back and listen to this episode and like take more notes. I'm gonna have to reframe how I'm thinking about my power partners. This is incredible. Okay, so I want to do one more question for each of you. Same question, and tell our listeners how to be paying attention to your work. So I would love for you to give let's say one actionable tip or maybe a daily practice that our listeners can implement right now to start cultivating powerful and this mutual beneficial partnership in their own work, knowing that we've got solopreneurs listening and we've got managers listening and we have CEOs listening and we have moms that are just, hanging out and trying to be better people in the world listening, right? We've got all of these amazing humans wandering around the planet. So how can we give them something right now to do? And how can they be paying attention to you? Let's start with Julie.
I love this question so much, and I'm going to speak from experience. And I think the one takeaway that women can have is to learn who you are. Learn about your core values, what makes you tick, and as a teacher, as somebody coming from the classroom, what are your non-negotiables? What are the things that disrupt your inner peace when you are doing something or around people who go against your values? And then learn to love that about yourself so that you know what light you bring to the world. Because there's no really right or wrong. I'm not saying sit in judgment. I'm just saying what's right for you. What do you stand for?
Yeah.
And what goes against what you stand for, and learn to set those boundaries.
Beautiful. So Julie, how can people be following you and pay attention to your work?
Well, I am on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook as The Real Julie A. Jones. So I'd love for you to connect with me there. And you can also go to my, and it's also YouTube there, The Real Julie A. Jones, but also todaysprofessionals.com. That's today's with an S and professionals with an S.com.
Great. And I know Julie's got a little gifty that we'll put in the show notes. So be sure and pay attention to that. Each of our guests has a little goodie for you, goodie gumdrop. They were all very gracious guests. And so be sure and go all the way down in the show notes and we'll put how to follow each guest and what they're giving you, because we love that. We love gifts here at the Sparkle Sesh.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Dorothy, how about you? What's one actionable tip that you would give or a takeaway today?
I would suggest something so pragmatic that write down on a piece of paper something about yourself. I am a very powerful, innovative creator who's here to make an impact on the world. Whatever that may be for you, every single morning in prayer or meditation, whatever you do in the morning, read that. Reaffirm to you the values you're bringing to yourself into the world. Because we can forget that. We can be so busy being other focused. We don't take time to claim, this is who I am. This is who I choose to be on the planet. And I think just you're creative, getting into quantum physics here, we create brain pathways. We can create that synapses that this is how I want to think. And if I say that every morning, I'm going to carry myself throughout the day.
Right.
Living, because that is no longer, I can't believe I said that. This is who I am. And we walk every day in that knowing, and Julie, one of the things, certainly I'm going to be following you ladies, because my goodness, we all have so much to offer. And there's a wealth we give ourselves. And one of the things is so many things Michelle has said, and Julie has said during this, my big thought is give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to say, that doesn't make me comfortable. That doesn't feel right to me. Give yourself permission. That is not cruelty. We can go to these extremes where people can be so cruel to each other, or people are so terrified of really expressing.
Right.
Here. In the middle somewhere is the ability to say, I don't feel good with that. Confronting a problem is not confronting a person. So let's confront the problem. And if I don't feel right inside, there's something that's not right here. And either we can fix it or we can't. And if we can't fix it, we can't work together. But if we can fix it, we're stronger as a team because we work through it and we have the safety and the intimacy to share what works and what doesn't.
Ooh,
Love it.
so good. Holy cow. I can confront a problem without confronting the person
Mm-hmm.
and know who you are as you start your day. You know, Dr. Dorothy, I do a 3-day event every year called Verve. Julie's been there. And we do, it's different every year. But this last year, one of the things we did is we strutted. We called it a CEO strut. And we talked about stepping every day
Mm-hmm.
our CEO energy, that we're not only the CEO of our businesses, but you're the CEO of your life. And many of us show up like an employee of our life. And if I could be so bold, we cheat on ourselves every day,
Yeah.
right? We cheat on ourselves. We give all of our energy and all of our power away to other things and other people rather than saying and being committed to what we said we were going to do. That's what I mean by cheating on ourselves.
That's right.
So I said, no more. Be your CEO. And it starts right now, right here. So everyone, like all 125 ladies lined up like a conga line. And we played this fabulous music track. And I'm like, now you're going to strut. And every single one of us is going to cheer you on. You're going to strut. And everyone strutted. I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Me too.
We filmed it. And I can't tell you how many people have said to me that has changed the way they show up for themselves every morning. They think
I
about it.
love it.
And I love what you say. I am the CEO strutmeister, right? Whatever it is. And you walk differently, right? That's that quantum dynamics. Like you are just
Yeah.
to change the energy around you when you do that. And your power partnerships will change because
Right.
that's you, because you've shaken up the energy.
You show up differently. Yeah, you show up differently. Congratulations to you. That's fantastic. Oh, I love that.
It was a great exercise. So fun.
Yeah, it was a great exercise. It was fun. Okay, LaChelle, I know you've got a great nugget for us. So what's the and Dr. Dorothy, be sure that I mean, holy cow, she if you haven't already figured out, she is a wealth of wisdom. So be sure and go connect with her because she's got so much for you. I every time that Dr. Dorothy and I see each other, like I think we were at an event not too long ago together, and I think we spent like 40 minutes just like I nose to nose, like talking about brain theory. It was so fun. So okay, LaChelle, what do you have for us today?
You know, I love what everybody has shared, and I'm over here taking notes when I can. I would say the power of writing things down, journaling is so key. Shameless plug for my book. It's all about journaling, right? Um, every day. Because not only do you journal, that's you creating the life that you want, but also being about intention. You know, every day learning something. That's important because you want to stay relevant. You know, I have kids that range in age from 11 to 35, and I need to be relevant in each one of their lives. And so that only takes place when it comes to learning. So being intentional about learning something new every day, having conversations. I have learned so much about myself, about other people, about my circumstances from conversations. So I think we should be very open to realizing that someone, anybody that we encounter has some value that they can share with us. So it's about us being intentional about finding it. You know, I liken it to digging for treasure,
Yeah.
right? If you ever start digging somewhere, you're going to find something. So, you know, everything you can find some value out of. In terms of following me, I'm on the Zandra TV network. I have a micro channel there as well as a show, and I'm on all social media platforms. They can Google America's Supermom, okay? Because I'm everywhere. I believe in sharing the strategies that I have in order for everybody to be able to make a better life for themselves. So, thank you so much for having me.
It's been so fun, ladies. Thank you for showing up so boldly, for sharing your wisdom from finding aligned partners to building trust, navigating conflict with grace, showing up for yourself, you know, having uncomfortable conversations, holding the line of who you want to be in the world. This conversation for me, and I know for the listeners, has been a true sparkle sesh. And for everyone listening, if this episode lit something up for you, go share it with your biz bestie or your mastermind, your team. And if you're dreaming of a collaboration, Take this as your sign to go for it with strategy and sparkle. And these 3 women alongside you, go follow them, soak them up. They have so much for you. So until then, keep shining and remember that success doesn't have to be lonely when you partner up with the right people.